So, Asif, thanks so much for joining me, and of course, happy Friday. So, for viewers who are more used to traditional sports books, what is a prediction market, and really in simple terms, and how is it different than just traditionally placing a bet?
Hi, Jenny. Great to be here. Thanks for having me again. So there's quite a few differences between traditional gambling markets and prediction markets. If to highlight a few of them, first of all, I think that prediction markets really play to a user's strength. They have a different way to possibly observe the world and make different analysis in which they can then open a market and then trade. Now, the most important thing to mention is that obviously gambling and sports betting generally is a state-by-state legislation versus prediction markets that are federally regulated under the CFTC. These are exchanges, peer-to-peer. You can exit or enter any contract at any time, versus when you kind of put a trade or a bet with a bookie, and they determine the spread, and you can't really exit whenever you want. You kind of have to kind of stick through it. So I would say these are kind of the main highlights of differences between the two different betting arenas as well as gambling or prediction markets.
Okay, and so during these big events like March Madness, why do prediction markets start to look more like financial markets than, say, these gambling platforms?
So I would say, first of all, the interesting, if you have to frame it, by the way, and taking two steps back, I would say that right now for this March Madness, there is an expectation of about $500 million in trading volume compared to 16 of last year. That's a 3,000% increase. So first of all, there's a lot of obviously kind of talk about this. There's a lot of chatter about this. A lot of people can now access to it through their different apps and trading platforms, through different wallets. We're seeing this, by the way, this kind of transformational in terms of of kind of Wall Street, and there's an interesting macro trends here, right? There's a lot of more enhanced retail participation. There's 24 trading. A lot of Wall Street firms are looking to serve products to a net new set of users that are a result of the generational wealth transfer, that are looking to invest in new assets through different ways. So I think this is what we're seeing here at scale. It started with digital assets and it's continuing to prediction markets.
So as far as, these prediction markets right now, you have said that they could actually be safer than sports books. So what makes them perhaps more transparent or fair in your view?
So, great question. I would say that there's actually, they're very transparent and fair in the sense that you can open a market on whatever you want and you can exit it at any time that you would like. I think that there are complexities to it. So, in a way, the attack surface on prediction markets has increased 10 times, right? I think that in order to understand market abuse or potential manipulation, insider trading in those markets, you have to look not only in the centralized order book, the most generally speaking, exchanges have, but you also have to understand multiple data sources like open source intelligence, sentiment data, historical behavioral data. You have to oftentimes even connect it to kind of the world of crypto. And so there are multiple otherwise very siloed data streams you need to connect in order to truly understand market abuse. And by the way, I'll kind of take it a step forward. Just yesterday, the CFTC has issued an advisory letter that's calling for two main things. First of all, every DCM that is operating a prediction market has to have real-time monitoring and surveillance, but that's already, by the way, exists today. The second is what they're saying is that there are novel and new ways to manipulate these markets in very specific contracts. They're expecting operators to act thoughtfully and intentionally in order to mitigate, identify, and prevent that type of market abuse and insider trading. So that literally came out yesterday by the CFTC. So I think it's really interesting developments we're seeing here.
Okay, and you mentioned, of course, the risk of manipulation. How critical then is regulation in making these prediction markets a more trusted and permanent real part of this financial system?
Incredibly important. The CFTC has made it clear that under existing commodity law, prediction markets are under their own jurisdiction. Again, there's an interesting right now ongoing debate between the CFTC and kind of the state legislators and thinking that this actually falls under gambling. I won't touch upon that, but I would say that the direction that the CFTC right now is taking and the advisory letter they just published yesterday, providing a lot of information for operators in terms of what to do and how to go about that and the expectation they set.
Okay, appreciate it so much, Asaf Meir, CEO of Solidus Labs. We so appreciate your time and really great conversation to close out our Friday.